character will not be able to affect mine, therefore the fight will go inconclusive. And your character will not be able to affect mine via his/hers existence. It's not really defined.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, what's your position?
Kaz would just blink her and her entire verse away.
Current
Kaz
time verse
contains
away.
all of them.
Is this
Yeah.
not Waishiki versus Cat? Oh, contains that's oh my god, okay. You can start your scaling. That's fine.
Alright, so in the beginning of Final Crisis Superman Beyond, we've seen, well, not even in the beginning, it was when they were reading the Book of Limbo. They stated that, well, it didn't, let me find my scan.
Yeah, go ahead.
The cosmic armor is all story. Is
Okay,
the
whole story.
container of
Okay.
all story.
Okay.
Yes.
I already have a problem with that. So, a container of whole story. You are aware that there are multiple narratives within DC, as in Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, correct?
No, this Final Crisis is actually exterior DC. It exists beyond it.
That's fine. It's still DC. Do you agree?
Under the publications, yeah.
Yeah, so it's under the publications. It's still DC. Therefore, if you were to say that the DC verse has multiple narratives, which is true, even though this is outside of DC, it will still be in correspondence with the narratives that exist in reality, right? In DC's reality, correct?
No, this is completely exterior DC. The context of the Final Crisis story is.
Exterior DC. Is it or is it not DC? Under
No, it's
publication.
not. Oh, under publication, yeah. But in the context, it exists completely outside of everything.
Outside of everything, can you prove that?
Yeah. So the world of Nil is beyond Limbo, and Limbo is within Plain Time, and so is the entire DC multiverse with the Bleed and with the other multiverses, which
Okay,
is story.
that's fine. That's still DC.
And
You're aware
no,
of
it's not DC.
No, because you just described me DC's cosmology. You describe Limbo, you describe Bleed, you describe Real Time. You can
Limbo
describe...
is exterior DC.
Okay, but you just told me that in Limbo, and within Limbo, there is Bleed. Bleed is in
Limbo is a shared continuity within Plain Time.
Within Playtime, and Playtime is?
Fictional stuff.
Fictional stuff, yeah, fictional stories. Fictional stories, I already have a problem with that as well.
Alright,
so
what's
you
the problem?
Guys, one second.
So-
and are we using, like, are we going to show the scans in the chat, or are we...
Yeah. Scans in
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Scans in chat.
While we are on chat, you just made multiple claims. I would like you to suffice all of them.
Wait, what? What are you talking
I would
about?
like you to suffice the claims you made so far.
What, that cast
As
is
in, no, as in that this is a separate continuity which withholds fictional stories, that this is outside of DC. You said it's under it's DC within the same publication, but you said it's exterior DC, which I don't know what that means.
the
since I'm
context
not-
the context of it. It's,
The
it's
context of
completely
fun.
metafictional.
It's completely
Yeah.
metafictional, and you define metafictional as
Like if I say a character is beyond the real world.
beyond the real world. Oh, okay,
Yes.
you define real world as.
Us. Simple.
Okay, that's not possible. You're aware that this is imagination, right? The DC continuity is
Yeah,
imagination.
which is why
Yeah.
I said it's metafictional. You know, it's in context.
Well, yeah, it's metafictional. Metafictional, you just define metafictional as beyond us. You said, so I can give you a track of what you said so far. You said, this is metafictional. I said, what do you define metafictional as? You said, it's outside of the real world or above real world. And then I asked you, what do you mean by real world? You said, us. Then I told you, you're aware this is imagination. And you said, yeah, it's metafictional. It does not matter within the context. You just told me if you kept the track record.
Dude.
Or I can... Yeah, what?
I'm not saying that this is real. I'm saying if we're gonna debate characters who are like beyond, like in context, beyond the real world and everything, you know.
The
like,
problem
that's
is they
what-
cannot be
that's
beyond
what
the
that
real
is.
world. You're contradicting
Obviously
yourself.
not. It's metafictional.
Yeah. Yeah, and I told you what... Okay, I hope you're keeping a track record. I asked you what metafictional means, and you told me metafictional means beyond the real world. I asked you, what do you define real world as? And you said us. When you said us, it would mean we as in people in real world, right? Correct? Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when you say metafictional, that would be beyond our real world, aka beyond us. So you're saying that imagination that we create from our mind is beyond us, correct? As in beyond people.
No,
in the real world.
I'm saying they're not like obviously they're not beyond us, but in
Correct.
context of the story it is.
There is no context. If you're just...
There is context. Grant Morrison literally says it, and the comic says it itself. Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
that's a contradictory statement, clearly.
It's not a
since-
contradictory statement.
Yeah, I'm right now justifying why it is. So when you say, oh, it's the real world beyond the real world, and then I asked you, how is it beyond the real world? And you said, it's within the context, but it's still, this context is still that these things are imaginations, so inherently they cannot be above us. You are aware of that. I hope.
Wait. So where do you scale Voichiki?
Where do I scale Waishiki? How is that relevant?
No. Just answer the question. Where do you scale her?
Red herring, please. Can we get back to the point?
All right, fine. Go back to the point.
So my point is, if yeah, we can conclude as well, since you're not really defeating anything. But what I'm saying is, what you define metafictional as? You said I define metafictional as things beyond the real world. Then I told you what is the real world. Then you said real world is us. Then I said, okay, so you're saying this within this context, this is beyond real world. You said yes, this is imagination we create from our mind. It inherently cannot be beyond our real world. And you said yeah, which means you are agreeing with what I'm saying. So you would inherently be contradicting your own statement by saying this is metafictional. You're aware of it.
Well, yeah, it's fiction, but that's why I keep saying in the context of it. Like, I don't believe that, like, Kaz is real.
Yeah, you're saying within context, the context given is that this is a fictional character. Then you say it's metafictional beyond us, and then we come back
Yes,
to
the context. It's metafictional. It's beyond us.
Oh my god.
In the context of the story, it's beyond us.
Okay. Yeah, we can conclude.
Alright. Yeah. No, you.
This wasn't even the... Alright.
We can conclude on this point of it being metafictional, not the entire debate.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Don't you have another judge?
It's the monitor MJ guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I believe no one at this point. No, provided the contradiction. He kind of just begged the question. He never really gave it a refuted. No kind of argument.
I don't understand the problem. I don't think you understand the problem, WillzTheGreat, because you're saying it's within the context that he's metafictional. The context is this is still a fictional character, so it cannot be beyond us. That's a problem. Which your entire point.
Yeah, I know
it's
that.
It's a self-contradictory point. That's the problem. But okay, if we are past this point, do you have any more? So you said it's metafictional. Okay, we are past the point. Do you have any more scaling to present?
Oh yeah, so in the context of Final Crisis, Cosmic Armor Superman holds the concept of all story.
Okay. So we were currently been talking about how he's metafictional, right? And we are going back to the original point of him holding all the stories, right? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit, the beat is hard as fuck. Anyway, so we're getting back to that shit. Right. I asked you to suffice the claims you made about Limbo, exterior stories, exterior DC, under same publication, etc. I asked you to suffice all the claims you made. Then, can you do that?
Oh yeah, I can. So Limbo is a shared continuity with all stories. Like it's a place where people who were forgotten goes to Limbo so they can
Send me the
continue
scan.
to live. Scan of what? Limbo?
No, send me the scan of the statement you're making, because so far this is a baseless statement. I please.
Oh yeah, MJ, do you have the scan?
What do you need?
The scan of Limbo being a shared continuity within plain time.
Wait, sorry for interjecting, but did you hear the conclusion that they gave on point one? Monitor, were you there?
Yeah, I've heard everything. I'm just a judge. I'm not actually going to debate anything.
No. He's saying that you... Wait, do you disagree with what Kamura said? Because you're also a judge. You also have to give your verdict on the previous point.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think Will had it right. He's just not explaining it the way that.
So he.
Okay, so he lost... You believe that what he was arguing for was right, but you believe the way he argued it was wrong, therefore he lost the point.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, I'm on board with
Okay,
that.
so he lost the previous point. Okay.
But you also got a point lost because you're not
Which
arguing
point?
this the right way either. Your entire point.
I'm sorry?
Your entire point was that metafictional things have to say metafictional in context. That
No.
is not how anything
No.
works.
That's wrong.
No.
That's
That is exactly
not
what
my
you
point.
said. You went on a rant. For
No,
me
I
to
never said that.
demonstrate
No. Y'all
what it
can
means.
debate about it. We can
Yo,
debate
MJ, I just want clarification so he can understand. First of all, he agreed I won the previous point, which is fine. And he said I lost the point. And the point he said I lost is that metafictional things have to stay metafictional. No, I was disagreeing with the whole notion of metafictional things existing, as in things beyond us is there, part of our imagination. I was disagreeing with the whole notion of the Cassian being metafictional. So no, that was not my point at all. We can now, WillzTheGreat, have you gotten the scans I asked you for?
Are we debating your opinion, or are we debating what the facts are from the content creators?
What the facts are from the content creators, I need you to understand that ontologically things such as metafictional cannot exist.
That's a great opinion, but are we debating your opinion in this discussion, or are we debating what the facts are?
Well, we are currently not debating anything. You said facts. Facts can be put into question, and if I put those facts in...
The facts of the content creator of the topic that we are...
Content creator statement, if they're contradicted, can be put into question. Thank you very much. Anyway, WillzTheGreat, you can...
If you can provide the contrary statements to it, then you...
I did.
No, you...
Because the statement itself... No, the statement itself has...
Wait, this is why
Go
I
ahead.
asked you if you're going to post anything in the chat, so I could see why you're right. First, you're just using your opinions, and I'm not saying you're wrong or anything like that, but you can't just say stuff without having any scans, any proof whatsoever, any reasoning why you're
Okay,
right.
wait.
This is entirely your opinion.
Continue arguing.
The problem is you're saying this is my opinion. My opinion is based on the logic, and the logic I'm using contradicts the logic, as in classical logic, inherently proves this statement to be false by saying metafictional things are beyond us. But that's completely fine if you believe it to be my opinion and to believe the other things are facts. You believing other things are facts is also your opinion. I really want to get back to WillzTheGreat's debate, and you and me can discuss if metafictional things can exist later. This is the great.
Yeah, that's
Okay, that's totally fine.
If your opinion on that is both sides are facts, even though we're debating somebody else's content and what the context is, yeah, we can do that later. That's totally fine. Then I award no points to either side.
Okay, that's completely fine. I'm just gonna stop metadata.
All right, so
This is the great. Have you provided the scans I asked you for?
oh yes, MJ, is it fine if MJ could provide scans for both of us?
Well, I don't agree for him providing scans for me, but I agree with him providing scans for you, so you can suffice your point.
Yeah, because MJ has the scans. Like he can find it better than I do. But can you provide a scan of Limbo being a shared continuity within plain time?
Yeah, sure, I'll try to find it. Am I the only one that has the DC guidebook?
No, I have the DC guidebook with me. I just like opening it and taking a picture of it is gonna. It's gonna be. I'm lazy, okay.
I have a bad copy. I don't have the actual high definition one.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna do that just now. I'm gonna take my DC Multiversity out.
Do you have the
Yo, Kimura, are you here?
that just came out in 2022?
I think so, because that was the one where it said that the Overvoid and Dax Nova also split, right?
No, it's the one that came out December of last year, exactly a year ago.
Oh no, I don't have that one.
Shoot,
So,
I
if
don't.
you want a high resolution copy of that, then I have to go find that. Exactly.
These guys remind me of. These guys just kind of remind me of people I watch on fucking Twitch debating. To be honest, y'all remind me of that
Twitch
kind of way.
debating?
Well, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the tone. It kind of reminds me of, for example, Destiny or T-Jump for some reason. But it is what it is.
Oh, I
y'all
never heard of them.
Oh, you should start watching debates. But anyway, I'm gonna wait for you guys to provide the scans I've asked you for.
Okay.
Oh,
Kamura, you're bugging. You're lagging.
oh, my fault.
Kamura, by the way, this is the first debate I have from my break. Like, after my break. It's just tragic.
Oh yeah.
W.
That's
Should I get back into fictional debating, or should I just keep, start doing abortion and shit?
hell?
Or
no.
two.
Oh god.
Don't do abortion until don't start doing abortion till let's see, what's a good benchmark? Don't start doing
Distance?
abortion so you can start going relative with sharks.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
Do you think I'm how far do you think I am from getting close to sharks, I guess?
well, going by tiering, I'd say sharks is 2 tiers above you.
That's fine.
Okay. He found the scan.
Holy shit, 2 tiers is crazy. I just realized what you meant.
What the
Oh,
fuck
this is the scan.
So
May
it
I
says
ask,
Limbo.
I apologize. I just wanted to ask something.
Oh, go on.
So, what's the source of this, please? Like, where do you
the
get
brand
this?
new edition of Multiverse? I just said it like 3 times. That came out in December of 2022, exactly a year ago. Feel free to go.
You said what?
Yeah, can you just send me the site? Because this awfully a lot reminds me of VSBW.
Do you want me to take a picture of the actual? I have the physical copy of the book if you want to see it, but it's going to take a minute
So-
for me to get a picture of it and then show it to you.
No need. If this is not VSBW, it's fine. I
No,
don't
it's
care.
from the Multiversity re-release that came out exactly a year ago.
Okay, and this is supposed to have correspondence within the books or DC continuity, correct? As in supposed to explain what DC is trying to convey throughout their books.
It's literally the DC Multiversity guidebook.
Guide, okay, so
This
it's a
is
guide.
Grant Morrison's guidebook that includes the Final Crisis series and the Multiversity series.
Okay, it's a guide.
Yeah.
Limbo, Otherworld, and the Phantom Zone. As which part should they read? Just tell me.
I was gonna read out everything if you want me to.
What's? This is a lot. Can you just tell me what's relevant to the point and read it out to me?
Okay. Line 2, it says, as Grant says somewhere, I forgot where, Limbo is the place where DC's and other companies' dormant properties languish to be resurrected in the Otherworld section of the orrery.
Other companies? Okay, so you believe that Oishiki, for example, and her company as in Lasoverse and the writer, etc., that whole work as in Lasoverse and Fate will be within this limbo, correct?
No, this what I'm saying is that Limbo is a shared continuity in plain time, which is above the bleed, where other characters, well, like, you know, if you read, like, where I just read it.
Other characters. As in other characters from other fictional works?
Yeah, that's what plain time is.
Okay, and may I ask what you're trying to get with this? Like, what's your conclusion?
Kaz is above hyper time. He's in
Guess
the world of
about
Nil.
Hyper time?
Can I
Okay,
interject
and
here?
what does...
Well, he has not engaged in this like we have. So when you say these things, he has no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't
That makes
know
sense.
Set,
What?
time, and Hyper Time is. He didn't watch the interviews.
Yeah.
He didn't read the guidebook.
Those-
Okay, so
He has no idea. So when you debate this with him, you have to tell him what this means. Otherwise, I have to give him the point because you're not telling him what this is even about.
yeah. All right, yeah, I got you. So Plain Time, as Grant described it, is think of a big box filled with comic books, like just random comic books and like random like other books, Harry Potter, manga, whatever.
Ooh.
Grant describes that the bleed is the box, and then the mangas and comics within that box is multiverses and other properties of people who creates anything fictional.
Oh well, I already
And
have
we're
a
in
problem
Q
with that.
time. That's what that means.
Yeah, so I already have a problem with that. Within the scan, it is a guidebook. Did it or did it not read, say, other comics? Correct.
It says Limbo is the place where DCs and other companies' dormant properties languish to be resurrected
Companies, right? Okay.
in the other word section.
I'm afraid this would be an omniscience claim, based on that you need to suffice with evidence that the DC author would know what Nosverse or Fate is. Therefore, he can make a claim that within his words there exists.
Well, he says Plain Time in general is like fictional properties where people create these things. Like if I create a character, like I would take a piece of paper right now and I create a stickman, like that would be within Plain Time, whether he's aware of it or not.
Well, that's the problem. He, as an author, is trying to make an fictional place in cosmology, I would say, within this verse, DC, and he, as the author, needs to have knowledge based on the fictional works he's making, because if he was
already
not...
does.
He has knowledge of, for example, Nosverse or Fate.
Oh well, no, not. I thought you meant like of his like writing. I was
Oh,
like,
okay,
you
of
already
his
know.
writing, yeah, of course, but of other writings which he's trying to implement within his own verse, he does not have knowledge of. And if you say, oh, it will inherently be like that, well, no. Author's intent was to put in the works of fiction from other works of fiction outside of his verse, but what would, in actual correspondence with actuality of the narrative, I would say, would be implemented where the fictional works is he, for example, has thought of or known while making this guidebook, I would say, or while making this part of the cosmology.
So you're telling me he needs to vividly just say, oh, and Naruto, oh, and Dragon Ball, and this and that. He's saying
Well,
Plain
no.
Time is a place where all fictional properties are. That's how
No.
we view everything as a comics in a cardboard
So
box.
I'll cut you off for a second. This is a strawman a little bit.
I'm going to agree with you on that. Will is not. I said before. Will, you have to show him the scans. You have to show him the links. Otherwise, he's going to win. So
Okay.
If I say it again, I'm just going to say go to the next topic. He won because there's been no evidence
Okay.
whatsoever on your side.
Right. All right.
Yeah,
so I'll just.
And the second part, you kind of strawman my point a little bit, which is the problem, since I didn't now say that he needs to vividly describe or say which parts of fiction would be in this Plain Time or whatever. I'm asking you, just if he has knowledge, we can confirm, like, if he has knowledge of these things, and if we can suffice with evidence that knowledge of these things exists within his imagination, so he can imagine all these things because he knows of these things, therefore he can implement it into his fiction. If we can suffice with evidence that he has knowledge of Nosverse, therefore it would be in his imagination, so he can create a narrative where Nosverse exists, then I would let this point go through to you. But if you cannot do that, then I would just say this is an omniscience claim, because as you guys are trying to do this, y'all are forgetting the one fundamental part of fiction, and that's you need to imagine it to make it. Fiction is bounded by our imagination, and I don't believe you can imagine, for example, a narrative having Nosverse if you have no knowledge of the Nosverse existence at all. That's my problem with this.
Okay, I understand. I understand what you're trying to say, but as Grant Morrison continues to, as he was making Final Crisis and everything, he specifically says that Plain Time is fiction in general. Like that's what that is. It's where we pick up the comic book and we read, or if we turn on the TV and see other fictional properties. Like that's what Plain Time is. And at the scan I showed, that's what he says.
Okay, okay. So, this is another time where I believe the statements do not hold enough validity or truth to them. I understand that the author, while in our real world, is trying to convey or portray a book or a narrative, right? He's trying to do these things. But the problem is, within fiction, when he says this is fiction in general, I find it a problematic thing to say that I have entire fiction within my narrative, because that claim is, first of all, a sagging standard like I have never seen one. Second of all, that claim itself presupposes that you have a knowledge of entire fiction to be able to implement entire fiction into this. That's the entire problem. So I have two huge problems with it. First, it's a sagging standard. Second of all, it's an omniscience claim. So if you can suffice those two things, I would not mind you having this point, but I don't believe those two things are sufficeable at all. Since first of all, the second standards is absurdly big, and second of all, to prove that your author has knowledge of these things, as in to suffice the omniscience claim part, is also a huge burden which is almost not possible to fulfill in my eyes. But if you can do it, go on.
Well, okay, but like I said before, plain time is fictional properties of pretty much everything. Like, and Grant, well, I'm gonna send a scan too. Grant also says that in the Orrery of Worlds that in this section you would have the DC multiverse. Over here you would have Archie, and over here you would have Marvel. And I will find that scan just now to provide
Right,
it.
amazing. I have no problem, absolutely no problem with DC having quote-unquote
Oh, wait,
Marvel
wait.
and Archie.
Can I-
Wait, can I just
Okay,
finish the
go
point?
on.
Like you said, Marvel, Archie, amazing. That suffices DC having within it Marvel or Archie, or those verses you named so far. But if it doesn't say Nasuverse, then I would not be able to say or confirm that your verse would have Nasuverse within it, therefore it would not be affecting Moishiki, as you're trying to say. Because
Okay.
you just like kind of fulfilled what I said by saying, oh, well, you will need to suffice your author having knowledge of Nasuverse, for example. You did suffice him having knowledge of Marvel, but Nasuverse not.
Okay, but this is what I'm trying to tell you. Plain time, as Grant described in the first scan I sent, is where all fictional properties are. It's Bleed in Final Crisis was completely exterior fiction. It was not fiction inclusive. It was exterior to fiction. And
So-
Cube Time, he then describes Cube Time as us, where the bigger So if you ever heard of M theory is the theory that we're in a much bigger box. So to fiction, we see that as plain time, and in Cube Time, that's us. We're in Cube Time, and then Hyper Time is the bigger box that we reside in, and then above Hyper Time, because Hyper Time is basically real life gods and dimensions we
Ew,
don't know about.
Gray area, a gray
That's the
area, a
theory.
huge gray area. That's a huge problem. So first of all,
It's based off M theory. That's what that is.
Yeah, and I have a huge problem with trying to portray imagination as in fiction being. First of all, we already went over metafictional point, so don't try to bring us as in Q time, or I don't know how you referenced it. But
Well, you keep saying that he needs knowledge on Nasuverse. He needs knowledge. What I'm saying
Yes, he
is
does.
he sees plain time as fiction and Q time as us. And in the context of Final Crisis, when Cosmic Armor Superman was in the world of Nil, which is beyond the jar of creation, that's what that was supposed to represent. That he's all of story, he's the concept of all story, that the Overvoid saw, and you know.
So first of all, the first thing you said was, not the first thing, but the second thing you said was that he's above Q time, right? And we already went over metafictional point, or how it would be a total absurd and an ad absurdium, if I may add, to say that the fictional character is above us as in metafictional. So that's the first part, and we already went over that part, and judges gave, I mean, my judge, I'm not sure about what your judge meant by that when in that topic or that point, but I
He
got
said he didn't give
verdicts.
us the point.
Yeah, he didn't give neither of us the point, but if your judge doesn't give you the point or me the point, and my judge gives me the point, it will just inherently make me the winner on that set point. But we already went over metafictional part, and if I got a verdict on that point, then you can start bringing Q time into it, because that would mean that he's not above it already, since we already went over on this. Now we are on the fictional point, about how he is above all of fiction. Or, yeah, transcendental over the, how did you say it, that has all fiction? Playtime? Yeah.
Playtime.
So that he's, yeah, playtime. So we are currently on the point if he's above playtime. So you can stop referencing Q time when we already went over that. I think I'm brilliant on that point. So, since I don't believe you have attacked my point, what you have done is try to suffice your point with more and more evidence, which, from what I'm seeing, your judge believes to that be a valid view on how you can beat other person's argument, which is completely fine. I have no say in how other people judge, but I'm saying that so far I did not see an argument that beats the two burdens I have placed. So I'm gonna restate my argument again, or restate it, and we can go to conclusions on this point if you want, after I restate it, and I believe if you didn't attack my argument, okay?
Okay.
So I'll repeat my argument again. I said, first of all, your argument is that your character is transcendental, I would say, over this plain time. This plain time holds fictional properties, and you said he referenced all fictional properties. And you tried to suffice that immense second standard with, well, I will not say a point, but you tried to suffice it with a scan, which says that it references Marvel, it references Archie, etc., etc. That would not suffice it referencing or him knowing about all of fiction in general. It would say that, okay, those things, as in Marvel and Archie, are within DC, but things like Nasuverse, etc., are not within it. That's the first thing. So you have not sufficed that claim of him having that. You tried to do it, but you didn't, because
Can
it's
I-
a huge second standard. You can cut in if you want to say.
Okay, so you're saying that what I'm saying is that the bleed holds only Marvel, DC, and Archie. That's not what Grant Morrison was saying here. He was saying that the bleed holds everything fictional, and he gave examples of that, such as Marvel. You would see the Marvel over here in the bleed. You would see DC's entire multiverse over here in the bleed, and then over here you would see Archie's multiverse. That's basically what he was saying. Plain time is fictional property.
Yeah, and my problem with that is him when he gave examples. Those are the only sufficient.
So are we going to
basis-
argue your interpretation or what the author's saying?
Well, what the author's saying is problematic. That's the entire point. And I'm
Okay,
giving
but
an interpretation which has more logical sense.
All right, but
and I'm
facts
saying
over
that's the
interpretation?
problem. Don't say facts because author statements as well are just interpretation of his own story. And if you try to say that,
Yeah, but if they show it and they back it up within the context of their story, then you know.
well, yeah, have they shown like all general fiction within the story?
Yeah,
like
all
all of
story.
fiction.
The
All of
concept
fiction.
of story.
Concept of story, as in all of fiction. Don't
All
get me wrong.
story that ever
All
has a story.
Mhm. All
All
story.
story.
that
Look
has a
back.
story.
Look back at the first scan I sent you. That's
That's
what
a
the
guidebook.
cosmic
That's
armor
not
is.
DC. That's guidebook.
No, all right. I'm gonna resend my scan then because you know you
No,
didn't
that's
see
not
it.
true because
So
the author of the comic book wrote that guidebook.
Yeah,
Author of the
exactly.
and we already went over the thing. which I
here's the
said
scan.
was-
Let's read what it says on the comic book.
I
It
just
says,
want the
with no
author-
precedent for the concept story, no understanding of the damage story might do to an immense awareness without limits or definition. Monitor has 0 defenses. Blinded, split in 2. The probe withdraws. The flaw is sealed, scabbed over with divine metals. The flaw is story.
Okay.
The concept of story. It's the concept of story. Everything that has a story within plain time, cube time, and hyper time is the cosmic armor.
Okay, we already went over the queue time. You can stop referencing it. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
this
guys,
again.
let's move on to another topic here. And
Yeah, can we move on to
we'll
this?
circle back to this one later because we've been on this one for like 20 minutes. So let's just
Yeah,
let's go to some other argument. And if
we
you
can
want
go to conclusions. We can
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can go to conclusion. I would like because I don't like jumping from one point to another because I believe it to be hard to track. So I just want conclusions at this point, and that's it.
There's no reason to even go back to it. Just conclude. Y'all give your conclusions just so I understand the full.
WillzTheGreat, you can go ahead and give your conclusions.
I think I understand those pretty much, but I just don't want you to go.
WillzTheGreat, can you give your conclusions, please?
Oh, well, it's pretty
It's a
much...
basic overview of the point, like what happened and what your arguments were during the point. Right?
Yeah, Cosmic Armor Superman is, as the author and as the comic shows, is above plain time, cube time, and hyper time, which is in theory, M theory, which is the theory that we're in a much bigger box, and above that was the jar of creation. So I believe Cosmic Armor Superman, as the comic shows, that he is he holds all of existence. Everything that is a thing is the cosmic armor. Every story that we laid out in cube time into plain time is within Kaz, and that Kaz is more powerful than Boichiki.
Okay. Is that
And
it?
Gamora, do you need my conclusions?
Just give it. Just so I understand.
Okay, so my conclusions is that first of all, if you were to say general fiction, that would be a very big second standard and omniscience claim. Since if you were to say all of fiction, you would need to suffice how the author has knowledge of all fiction, because for him to implement all of fiction into his fiction, he would need to have imagined. Yeah, and I'm saying he would need to have imagined all of fiction, and to imagine something, you would need to have knowledge of that setting, which. If he doesn't suffice his author having knowledge of this thing, therefore we cannot conclude that it would be all of fiction, just the fiction he has referenced, which was, as he said, Archie, Marvel, and something else. And that was the first point about the plain time, and how it could not be there because it's a knowledge claim, of course, omniscience claim.
Okay. Yeah. I believe no one at this point. The reason why I believe that is because he provided a knowledge claim, or he proposed a knowledge claim or an omniscience claim, as he said before. He made the claim that Cosmic Armor Superman has this property of, or is generalizing all of fiction. He said to do that, you would need to imagine, or you would need to know all of fiction. You never gave substance or like prove that your author can do X thing. So, well, yeah, it's Mitch and Tracer. You didn't really do anything. You never attacked that at all, actually, within the debate. And then, yeah, that's it. That's just, I don't know what else to say.
MJ, are you gonna give your conclusions?
Yeah, so I'm gonna split this as a draw because I think your opponent was woefully underprepared, didn't understand what the guidebook or the comics or the authors have said about these things, and used only his logic opinion as a valid answer, which is completely subjective. But Will, you were also extremely unprepared on how to explain everything. You didn't give him a good enough like container to even reply the right way. So it's kind of your fault that he replied that way. So this is like a conundrum of how I don't even know how to judge this, because your opponent's answers were based off of your original, response to the question, and he was only replying to your discussion points and not what is actually valid. So he didn't have all of the information to begin with, and he was replying to it in his own way. But he was right. So in that case, I would give a point to your opponent on that, because it was on you, it was on Will's burden of proof. It was on his shoulders to explain this, because it was his character, his context that he's defending. But Will didn't do that. But again, at the same time, if we're going to debate stuff, both sides need to prepare better on these characters. I didn't see a single feat from the other side. There was nothing there. It was all a debate about the context of Grant Morrison's guidebook and nothing else. There wasn't even one sentence in this entire thing on why your character won. It was entire 100% on why Cosmic Armor loses, which is not given. So
I'm sorry.
I have
I'm
nothing.
sorry.
I have absolutely nothing to gauge on your side whatsoever yet. So if that's the conclusion, what am I supposed to do here? Like, if there was, if that's
is the conclusion of the
wait,
point.
hold on. If that's the conclusion and nothing else will be said, then Will wins, because Will is the only one that actually gave valid arguments for why his character was winning. You didn't. There was literally nothing on your side. So
I apologize. Is the conclusion of the point, not the conclusion of the entire debate. Like, who won the point and the arguments of this point. And it's not the conclusion of the entire debate. You're just concluding based on this point. If this ability he's trying to gauge or gain will go through with his character having it currently, based on the arguments presented. It's not the entire debate.
okay, my fault. I apologize.
Oh wait, this ain't the. Oh, that wasn't the entire debate.
No,
Okay.
I thought
just-
that was all of
just-
it. So that's totally fine.
Yeah. So is that all of your scaling, or can no scale now?
Yeah, that's it. He can.
That's all of your scaling? Okay, that's fine.
Well,
all of Will's scaling
but
on-
that's not all of my scaling on Cosmic Armor.
Oh my god, okay.
This is why I gotta
Yeah, I
ask.
can proceed. You guys can proceed then. With your scaling? Oh my god, you're gonna be here for entire day.
Well, you can go. Like that was just
No.
for my point. Like you could go. I don't
No,
I don't mind.
You have to finish your scaling.
Yeah, just finish your scaling, then we can get to it.
Alright, so as I've said before, Cosmic Armor Superman is above creation, and when he was introduced, it said that let me just find the scan real quick. It says that he pre-adapted to any future threat. So he's basically, like as I've said before, he's all story. And then when he was fighting Mandrak is the opposite of story. He's anti-story, which is why Cosmic Armor Superman was, getting beat up throughout the entire comic book. And MJ, do you have the can you provide the scan of Cosmic Armor Superman and Mandrak being stated as all story versus non-story?
Do you mean the slipcover?
Yeah, the slipcover of
So I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Can you be more specific? Which one you're asking for?
I think it's. Oh, hold on, I might have it right now. I think I have it.
Is it this one?
Yeah, that one.
Written by editorial from DC Comics.
Yeah, by the editorial. It's the slipcover of Final Crisis written by the editorial of DC Comics, and it says, let me see. Let me find it. It says, but Final Crisis is his greatest scale moment yet, a particularly harrowing section of the story that is the DC universe in which a universe conflict goes down. Not who would win, Superman or Darkseid, although that's in here too. But the real biggie, existence versus non-existent, isn't universe versus.
Who was placing? Sorry. Sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, I heard background Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
So, I would ask you, the conclusion you're trying to reach again is, because I followed up the premises, I'm not quite clear on the conclusion though.
Wait, what?
So I followed the premises, but I'm not sure what you're trying to get here. What ability you're trying to get here.
Well, Cosmic Armor Superman has every ability he can.
Oh, every ability. Oh, we're gonna get into Omniscience Claim again. Oh my god. But that's fine. Every ability within his verse, or what?
Well, as I've said before, he's the concept of story, and he's the container of story. So he's a pre-adapting robot or a pre-adapting thought robot that can use anything he wants, basically.
Well, there's anything to want to win him this fight.
Against the anti-story, he didn't really win, but yes.
Yeah.
Wait, Kamura, I'll stop you too. I'll ask you to stop this shit, please. So, for example, when he's met in a situation which he's like most likely going to lose, you're saying that he will adapt to that and gain anything that is needed for him to win.
Yes, he has transcendence. Like he can get as strong as he needs. I'll provide the scan for that too.
Okay, so it's two different things. You first said he has every ability or hacks, which is complete arsenal, and what you're trying to argue is actually superior adaptation. So you got them too confused. Its superior adaptation is basically saying that he can like adapt to anything, get stronger. get stronger than anything to make him win that fight, right? So that's what you're trying to correctly argue, not that he has every ability.
I said that he pre-adapts, not that he adapts. only
He pre-adapts.
to the fight. It's that before.
Oh.
It's before there's a threat. He already adapted to that threat. That's what this says.
Yeah.
Oh, that contradicts law of causality then, doesn't it?
It says it on the scan I provided.
Okay, I just, outside of the debate, I just found something interesting. The scans, while I do agree, can, to some degree, be good, as a good way to suffice evidence, I just don't they're not 100% thing you can put scans into questions or what the intent was or why the scan would be wrong, right? So, when you say,
Right.
I'm putting this into question, you say, well, it's within the scan, I'm saying I'm putting scan into the question, as in what the scan meant, so that would just be back in the question.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah. So, throughout this entire debate, I saw this reoccur multiple times, which was I was even talking about it. It's kind of back in the question already. If I already put the scan into question, you're trying to suffice it with the scan. I just don't see that's not a good way. But anyway, I'll just get back to the scan or what the scan says. So,
Yes.
y'all are saying, well, not y'all, you, Will, are saying that he can adapt, or he already adapted to a threat before the threat existed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's one problem with that. I'm not quite knowledgeable on Superman in general or DC, but correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't he wasn't he losing the fight with Mandra for most of the fight?
Yes, he was, and that was because Mandrak is anti-story. He's the opposite of what the cosmic armor is.
Yes. Okay, so he's the duality of cosmic armor, correct? And he was trying to say that if he was already adapted to Mandrak, even if he was his duality before the threat existed, he wouldn't be struggling in that fight because he would already find a way to adapt against him. But during the fight at the end, Cosmic Armor Superman won because he adapted to Mandra during the fight. So I don't believe you can quite say that. Well, if that's what happened, I'm not quite clear. But I don't believe you can say that he adapts to things before the fight happened because it's kind of.
Well, it's like what I said before. Mandrak is he's anti-story.
Mhm.
He's not within within story or within the cosmic armor. He's beyond story. He's the ultimate consumer.
Wait, I'm just gonna ask. When you say anti-story, that's a very subjective term. What do you mean when you say anti-story?
He's the opposite of story.
And what does that mean?
What the fuck?
Nothing. He's the ultimate consumer.
An ultimate consumer.
Like the delete key. The delete key of existence.
Wait, but isn't he also a story?
No. He was actually put. Hold on, if I can find the scan real quick. He was actually put into a story by the Overvoid, so that he can beat Cosmic Armor, and that's what happened in the scan right here. It says, "I'm inside a This is Cosmic Armor Superman narrating. He said, "I'm inside a self-assembling hyper story, and it's trying its best to destroy me." That's the hyper story is a story because remember, Kaz is all story. That's what he is, and Mandrak is the opposite. So the Overvoid puts both of them in a story to make Cosmic Armor Superman lose. Hyper story is basically I'm all story, but you put one story hypertext basically. You could text above a text.
Well, do you see how that get contradicted then? If you were to say, oh my god, somebody's calling me, I apologize. Okay, that's good then. So, oh my god, if they call me one more time. But anyway, I hope you realize how that gets contradicted when you say that Cosmic Armor Superman is all story that and Mandrak is anti-story, right? He's anti of all. All is a set pertaining to all things. All means anything or everything. So when you were to say all story, any story, every story, right? That's a set. But if you were to say that they get put into a story, but they are anti of all story and they have all stories, or they have all stories and anti of all stories, but then you say they get put into a story, that set is not all then. Correct?
Well, it's mostly for because Mandrak is the corrupted side of the Overvoid. So it was mainly Cosmic Armor Superman because he is all story, which is the hyper story that he was talking about.
Can you stop breaking into your mic, Kamura? I know it's you.
What?
But anyway, so yeah, with the Overvoid part, that's fine, I guess. But I don't have necessarily a problem with that thing, what you're trying to say right now. But what I have a problem with is that I can maybe put this into a syllogism for you, but premise one is wrong or not sound to begin with, because the premise one is they are all story and anti-story, right? And they are fighting, correct? Mandrak is anti-story, and Cosmic Armor Superman is all story. But they then get put into a story, so they are also in a story. So the set is self-contradictory, because
they get put into the ultimate story of.
It's an overarching story. It's an overarching story, correct? Exactly. So
if the hyper story.
It's the hyper story, yeah, amazing. So the problem with that is, if they're inside an overarching story, that would mean that they are not all stories and all anti-stories, since they're already in an overarching story themselves. So,
I mean,
all story and anti-all story are within a story? Like, well, it kind of gets
yeah, that's what because the overvoid is the absolute void. The overvoid is the one that put both of them into, because the overvoid is beyond story. That's what the overvoid is. The overvoid put all story and no story in a story. That's what hyperstory is. That's the context of it. It's like hypertext. It's like you're texting above a text.
You're texting above a text. It's an overarching story. Exactly. If you have an meta...
Made from the overvoid, yeah.
Made from the overvoid. Well, I have problems with overvoid being like above story as well, but that's not. I don't believe that to currently be relevant, so I'll just get past it. So if overvoid made an entire new story about these two stories, story and anti-story fighting, and it's another story when supposedly all stories and all anti-stories are fighting, then all stories and all anti-stories statement is a contradictory one, correct?
Well, I wouldn't really say it's contradictory.
Well, it goes directly against this, right?
Because, okay, so for when you first see the cosmic armor in Final Crisis, you see all of creation behind the cosmic armor. You know.
Well, can you send me that? Because
yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
I was
it's a gray area when you say like all creation, then you can say all DC creation because you already went into like other verses and stuff. So yeah, I would like that.
Behind the cosmic armor is the jar of creation. That's everything that is a thing.
Within DC, right?
I mean, if I refuse, it's gonna go back to that point.
Which, yeah, we already concluded on that point, and the judges gave their verdict, so like, you know. Okay. So he is. Wait, why did I ask? I kind of have ADHD, so you can like please remind me of why did I ask for you to.
Oh, you said because it's contradictory that the cosmic armor is all story and Mandrak is anti-story, and then they get put into the story by the overvoid.
Yeah, that's the okay. That's the point. And why did you send me this exactly? How did this?
Because you're saying it's a contradictory for cosmic armor when he's all story versus anti-story.
Okay, and you
told me you told me to provide a scan of everything that ever was behind Has.
Yeah, I don't know why I asked you that. It doesn't suffice like anything. So if this just further substantiates of this being like if he is all story within like DC or whatever, if he's allegedly all story and he's fighting against allegedly all anti-story and he's in an overarching story, therefore this is my argument, but I'm asking you, how do you plan on defeating this argument?
What, that's a contradiction?
Yes.
Well, during Final Crisis, it's not like Cosmic Armor Superman isn't aware of the story that the Overvoid put them in, because he is all story. And then later on, he ends up defeating Mandrak, even though it wasn't really like he punched out Mandrak. It was more so like he basically changed the story.
That's cool and all, but I don't see how that goes against what I'm saying. Because you said you said he's aware of this story, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But just because he's aware doesn't mean that this is not a.
He changed the overarching story.
Oh, he changed it.
Yeah, he changed it.
Do you believe him to be above this overarching story?
Yes.
Okay, so he's above a story, and he's within
the story.
He is all story, so. Yeah, so he's above the story and within the story at the same time. You see how that?
Well, he changed the story, so.
But when I asked you if he's above it, you said yeah.
Yeah, if he changed it, because the overvoid because do you know what the overvoid is? I don't know if that MJ should I explain the overvoid?
You should do whatever you think you need to do. Don't ask me. It's your
Okay, so the overvoid is the non-dual absolute void where everything basically spawns off of it from, and the overvoid noticed story, the concept of story, and basically it got like corrupted by it. So what it did was to hold on, let me just send the scans real quick. So the flaw is all story, as it says. So in order to protect itself from story, because it was spreading and the overvoid is perfection, it created the cosmic armor to basically like a band-aid, basically.
Yo,
and so the overvoid, like I was saying before to my previous point, the Overvoid is above all stories, and it doesn't like story because it's perfection, and it noticed the mark on itself, and it's like, why is this mark here? So, like I said before, to protect itself, it created the cosmic armor. But the Overvoid doesn't like story, and Mandrak is basically the anti-story. And wait, I forgot. What was your point again? Like, what you guys
so I have so many problems with this. I'm so sorry, but so my first problem with it is I was saying this is a contradiction. Then you said he manipulates the overarching story, therefore he would be above it. That's going under a presupposition that if you manipulate something, you're above it. Like, I can hit a wall and like I can make a crack in the wall. I'm manipulating a wall, but I'm not above the wall. That's like as in above, transcendental, I'm a wall level or anything. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, so, and even if you were to go under a presupposition that he is above story because he manipulated it, he is within an overarching story, but allegedly he is also above this overarching story as well. So he is within something that he is also transcendental or above over, which is another contradiction.
Well, the Overvoid, like I said before, the Overvoid is against Cosmic Armor Superman. Mandrak is the opposite of story, right? So it put Cosmic Armor Superman in this story to go against, to kill him, basically, to kill the Cosmic Armor.
Okay, and?
And Cosmic Armor Superman changed that story.
Okay. Do you want to go to conclusions, maybe? Because I don't believe this defeats my point. Do you want me to just repeat my point again? Because I don't think you're like understanding how my point goes against what you're saying.
Yeah, you could repeat your point.
So, what I am saying. So, original point. I can write it down for you. It's really not that hard. My original point. All stories is in an overarching story, therefore it's a contradiction. You said, no, it's not, because this is because of the Orwood is trying to put him and Mandrak into a story because he's trying to kill him, and then you said he manipulated the story, and you said and I asked you, so if he manipulates it, does it mean he is above the story? And you said, well, yeah, and then I said, okay, well, my first problem with that is because just if you manipulate something, it doesn't mean you're above it. Second of all, there's the first thing. Second of all, if you were to say that he's above this story, but also within the story at the same time, that's another contradiction. And the third thing I'm going to say now is that it still doesn't suffice it still doesn't suffice what you're trying to put forth, aka that this is not a contradiction. It's still a contradiction, even if with the added context you're giving, it still doesn't go against contradiction I have provided. So those are the three things you should respond to.
Okay, so the main one I wanted to tackle was that it's a contradiction. Well, it's all story put into an ultimate story, so I don't really see any problems with that.
You don't see a problem with all. You don't see a problem with all story being in a story. That's what I mean. No, it's not really all story. It's a huge chunk of the story, I guess, but it's not all, since you would need to say that Cosmic Armor Superman also contains the story within him of him and Mandrak fighting.
Well, the Overvoid is completely above both of them, so it made the ultimate story of story versus non-existent.
Well, we don't really care for Overvoid right now. We're talking about Cosmic Armor Superman, are we not?
Right, but you need to know that the Overvoid is completely beyond them, because it's like...
Yeah, we have to stop right there, because you need the context of the Overvoid at least, so you can understand what happened between the battle.
The Overvoid is...
You can't discuss that without...
Oh, I'm sorry, MJ.
Yeah, I have no problem. Yeah, because I wasn't really planning on discussing the Overvoid part, because I don't see how that goes against what I'm saying, but... Yeah, I don't mind the additional context.
Okay, so it's like, if I create a character, right, and I want this character to lose, but the character goes against that, the character's not above me, it's above the story.
Can I just step in
do you want me to
before you go on?
Do you want me to give you?
Yeah,
sure.
The only reason I'm even talking right now is because you mentioned that you're not really too much of an expert on the Superman subject. So in my mind, I'm not sure if you read it or not. So that's the
I don't know if you read it or not.
To tell you what the context is. Otherwise, I would have never said anything. I would have just let you guys go. But I want at least the other side to at least know what the context is behind this, right? Is it okay for the judge to say that? Like, I'm not going to provide what the answer is, but I'm going to tell at least one side that they should probably tell them what the context is, so the other side knows what's even happening, right? Is that okay?
Well, I found it like a bit, I wouldn't say annoying, but I found it a bit of an annoyance when you got in and tried to get your like say, well, oh, you should do this, otherwise I will get him the point. Like you're kind of helping it, but I don't really care.
No, that's
I
why
would
I
have said
asked.
something at that point.
I thought we were debating this, and I was supposed to be helping people with scans
This-
and context, and then I'm now
Hold
told
up.
no to that. So that's why I'm asking. I don't know what my parameters even are in this.
Yeah,
situation.
I'll tell you as a judge. So as a judge, one, just judge out based off argumentation, because what it's supposed to do. But you don't need to interject unless they're consistently cutting each other off
Okay.
and spurring. As a
Okay.
judge, you just need to help the debate progress healthily. And
Okay,
yeah,
yes.
you can provide skills
Okay,
as long
I
as you
agree.
reference this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to offer help. I'm not going to offer anything unless both sides agree that I should do so.
All right. Then.
Yeah, but I really care. It's fine what you did back then. I don't mind it. But anyway, so yeah, the overboy point. Yeah, so I will give you an analogy if you want me to. So imagine all story to be all people, and there is a person who is allegedly above all people, but then you have this ultimate person or an ultimate story. Like then make a correspondence with an ultimate person and ultimate story, and that ultimate person is above the person who is allegedly above all people. That's a contradiction. And this is exactly what's happening with your argument.
Wait. Say it again.
So
if you're
imagine it like this: you have all people. That's like all stories. Then you
Okay.
have one person who is stronger than all people, aka Cosmic Armor Superman, who is above all stories. But then you have
Uh-huh.
one ultimate person, which is like this ultimate story, and that one ultimate person is above. Well, not above, but yeah, above. I would say this person who is above all people. That's what's happening here, and that's a contradiction.
No, the Overvoid is completely beyond everything. It's way beyond story and anti-story.
No, I'm talking about this overarching story that Overwatch put them in.
Yeah, that the Overvoid put them in.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Overweight, I'm talking about this overarching story. If Cosmic Armor Superman was really above all stories, as you're trying to say, he would be above this story as well.
Yeah, he changed it.
Okay, then we get into this point, the 2 points I said. If he was above this story... Oh shit. My microphone fell.
You
But
okay?
anyway, yeah, my microphone fell. So if he was really above all the stories... No, really above all the stories, my bad. If he was above the story, but he's also within the story, because if he manipulated the story and you're trying to say he manipulated, therefore he's above it, but he is also within the story, that's another contradiction, which is another problem. And and the other part is that just because he manipulated something, it doesn't mean that he is above it. I can, for example, hit a wall, I can make a little crack in the wall, I guess, but it doesn't make me wall level or make me transcendental over the wall, even though I manipulated the wall. So yeah, those are my two correct arguments.
All right, so and this is what I was saying before. If I made a character, right? Let's say Cosmic Armor Batman or whatever, right? And I say he's all story, right? And he's fighting against someone. Let's just say he's fighting against Goku, right? And the story is Cosmic Armor Batman gets his shit rocked by Goku and dies. But if Cosmic Armor Batman changes that story, is he not above that story?
Not inherently. He would be above Goku, but not above the story. Not inherently.
But I put on the story that Cosmic Armor Batman is going to lose.
Well, sure, but that doesn't really answer the point of it still being a contradiction, does it?
No.
Like,
Wait.
Okay, even if you suffice, like, I don't really care for that point that much, but even if you really suffice your character manipulating the story, therefore he's above the story, I'm saying that if he's above the story, but also within the story at the same time, it's another contradiction.
He's all story.
Yeah,
And it's like I said again, it's like hypertext. It's like what the Overvoid did. He put story in. He put all of story in a story. That because the Overvoid can do whatever it wants.
What's in question is if he is above all stories. That's the
If he
problem.
put all story in hyperstory, you're saying it's a contradiction because he's supposed to be all story.
Yes, and the hyper story is also a story.
Well, the hyperstory is all story put in the story. That's what
Yeah,
the hyperstory
but
was.
that's what Cass is supposed to be, but he isn't. So you saying his all story is still wrong.
Well, like I said again, he was put in all of story was put in the story. That was the hyper story.
All story was put in a hyper story. Hyper story is still a story, therefore this is still a contradiction. We can move to conclusions if you want me to.
I don't really know. I don't really care.
We can go to conclusions if you want. Yeah, it's fine. Because I don't really believe you're like attacking what I'm saying.
Yeah,
What
'cause-
What was the claim?
wait.
What?
What's the claim?
Alright, come on. Anyway, so Kamura, you're not infinity now, bro. But anyway, yeah, we can move to conclusions if you want. because this is dragging out unnecessarily, and I personally don't believe. If like judges can give their verdict, I personally don't believe your answer for what I'm saying. So yeah, you can move to conclusions.
All right. Oh, well, but do I go? Do I go first?
You can if you want to.
All right. Well, so I was basically saying that Cosmic Armor Superman. I hear an echo. Who is that?
Not me. I don't believe so, at least.
Wait, hello? Okay, yeah, I don't hear it anymore. So Cosmic Armor Superman is all story versus anti-story, and this story they were put into a story by the Overvoid, which is completely beyond everything and anything you can think of. And Cosmic Armor Superman changed the story that the Overvoid and Mandrak was trying to kill Cosmic Armor Superman with. And that's
it?
pretty much it.
That's it? Okay. So, original point. This is a contradiction. Why? Because your character is all stories within a story, therefore the proper alleged claim of him being above all stories is contradicted. Answer. He was put into this story by Overvoid, who is beyond stories in general. And Cosmic Armor Superman is above this story because he manipulated it. Argument I provided against that was Cosmic Armor Superman is allegedly above the story, but also within the story. That's another contradiction, and I don't think the second argument he defeated properly. That's why I think I won this point. Komura, can you conclude?
So basically, yeah, the Will's the Great. You said that this nigga Superman wasn't a story, but he's above stories, and the reason he's above stories is because he's able to manipulate it, or something like that.
Yeah, so during the fight, yeah, that was pretty much it. That he was all story put into an ultimate story like hypertext.
Yeah, hyper story. Okay, and no, you're basically not contradictory because how it's within something yet unbound by it, and then you said if that his argument doesn't logically follow his conclusion because manipulating something doesn't entail you're beyond it.
What I said was, if he's truly above all stories, he will not be within an overarching story. Then he said he's above that overarching story, and I said, well, no, that would not be possible because he's within the story, so he cannot be above that story.
Okay, and he never responded to that. He never gave it.
No, not a proper refutation at least that addresses.
Okay. No, you won. I think no one. Ooh, MJ, you can give your much geek.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give the point to AE on this one because Will didn't deep dive this far enough. Giving just the basic refutation on that wasn't enough to actually answer the counters from AE on this. So yeah, the point definitely goes to AE on that one.
Okay.
Okay, so do you guys want to move to my scaling or what? Or do you
Yeah, we can move to your scaling.
Okay, that's fine. I'm so tired, bro. Komura, we are going to that Eagle server right after this. I need to bag someone after this shit.
Nigga, I gotta debate Mono after this.
Mono?
Yeah, Mono's back.
Really?
Yep, he's inside Zaza.
W. Wait, who do you think is better, me or Mono?
You. I think rhetorically Mono.
Yeah, rhetoric, argumentation, and knowledge-wise, I think I'm better though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Also, I'm 1-1 with Shin, by the way. Me and Shin have both beat each other once.
Oh, you're going relative with Shin now? Type shit.
Type shit. Well, that's excluding all the GC debates, because there was a shit ton of them, but that was back when I was last, so. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get to my skin. We can talk about it later. So yeah, my character is like, oh shit. Do you have the Apathetic shit?
Shores hasn't been a scan server, but that nigga blocked me from it.
Bro, oh my god, okay. Okay.
Oh god, that's all the interesting shit I could find.
Well, this would not suffice my position. Shit. Alright, let me find the scans real quick, I'm sorry. Yo, department, send me the scans. Send me the scans for Apathetic. For Apateticism. Oh my god. But this guy Will is not that bad, to be honest.
I'm new to debating. This is like my third debate ever.
Invite me to some of your debates. You're not that bad. I think you have potential at least.
Oh, if I have any more, I will.
I said Infinity. No, did you see Infinity versus Toxic?
No. What?
They debated like not even that long ago.
When?
Literally like 2 hours ago.
Why was I not there? Yo, send me the recording right fucking up. What the fuck? Who won?
People think Infinity won, but Toxic, Infinity says Toxic did better than what he did the last debate. It was whether or not the mind is material. Shitty ass topic.
Oh, boring ass topic.
I wanted them to do crossers.
Bro, they have to do crossers. Once at least. Yo, department, send me please. Send me the fucking... No, mode is not online anymore. Send me the scans please. Bro, mode is not in Zaza anymore.
Damn.
Well, I guess we're going to the Eagles soon.
Wait, hold up. I gotta talk to that nigga. I gotta talk to Necessary about Paladin, and then go to the Eagles. See,
But department needs to get me the scans. So I can
think-
like substantiate my point.
bro is not here.
Department! I know you're typing in my DMs, little bro. Send me the scans, or else.
Oh god.
I am leaking every time you call me daddy in text. Now send me that shit.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
The more you do your shit, I wanna hear.
Nope.
Where's Minky's scan server? I need that shit.
Absolute dirt.
I'm gonna try to find it myself as well. Hold on. I apologize for inconvenience about waiting. Bro, why did Shaw just kick me, bro? Man, cheeky shit. How old are you guys?
Really old.
Look, and the ancient.
Probably
Yeah.
doubled it maybe with everybody here combined.
Whoa. Was your dream career to be a Discord debater?
Nope, I was doing debates long before I got on Discord.
What? Are you like T-Jump's little brother? That bald ass nigga. Oh.
Never heard.
No, so wait, where did you debate?
Quora, Comic-Con versus Battles.
Oh.
Okay,
Ah.
that's nice.
God, shut.
Have you debated Seth before?
Seth the programmer?
Yes, sir.
No.
Do you think you could beat him eventually?
I don't know. I'm open to a discussion though anytime anybody wants to discuss anything.
Do you believe you can be Sinti?
Who?
Oh, okay. It's debater that you guys.
He doesn't know these randoms.
No, I don't know Discord people.
Yeah, they all random. Infinity, that nigga random. Toxic, that nigga random.
Oh god. So, alright, I'm gonna send this shit. So, are y'all guys aware of what apathetic means?
Yes.
Mind define it for me?
Wait, say it again? What was it?
Apathetic.
Oh, apathetic? No, I don't know what that.
So, in a basic term, apatheticism means that somebody is so transcendental over you that you cannot describe him. As in, you cannot give any positive apathetic. Is that how you know say it? But yeah, so basically you cannot give any positive properties to this character since he is so much above you. So he's so much transcendental over you, you cannot give him any positive properties. Since my character is an apathetic being, aka he's not been able to posit any properties or assert any properties towards, as in the scans I showed you, you cannot even give him a name. Shiki is just a portrayal, or you try to portray this character through Shiki, but that's not possible. The true character is the root, which is just a name which doesn't even encompass its true identity. And this true identity of this thing is it being... Well, this character is... We call it apathetic to try to understand it to some degree, but we cannot truly even understand this character. So this character is so transcendental that we cannot understand it or begin to comprehend it. We can only say things that will be able to represent or in some way convey an image in our mind only, but it's not enough because it doesn't even encompass the true reach of the character, or not of the character but of the thing, of the it, as to say it. So yeah, my character is just so transcendental over it, he will be even transcendental over your character, therefore your character will not be able to affect minds, my position will be fulfilled inherently. I can provide more scans if you want me to as well.
Wait, what are these scans proving?
These scans are proving that this character is, in fact, as we call it, apathetic. So it says here, beyond and below lay only darkness, the void lifeless place could only mean one thing, I was there without anything. It says, I stopped recalling simply, I fell deeper into because is actually, like, you cannot say it. This is how, because you cannot posit a name to that thing. Like, this is how we say it in the novel, because we cannot give a proper name to it, because we cannot encompass its true identity.
Wait,
So,
wait,
yeah, it just transcends
which
to words.
scan? Which scan does it say that at? I just wanted to-
It's the second scan. The first scan, Spiral of Origin, it was no longer to properly exist. This term was a source of headache during the production of the drama. So to properly express this term, it was not possible. This is a headache even if you try. Its meaning vary depending on each individual's understanding. Based on somebody's understanding, they can comprehend more of it, but still not fully because it's incomprehensible, ineffable, if you will. The root of all things is the beginning of all things. It was looking like through a record and archive, so that's the same thing. There's only emptiness. Like it was so, the root was so big, yet we still didn't comprehend it fully because it's incomprehensible fully. Like that's what the point of this character is. It's ineffable to us. It's so transcendental over us. We cannot comprehend it in any way, shape, or form. Do you have any refutations?
I do, but it would go back to the first point of the debate.
What?
Oh shit! What is that?
So
Wait, what is that? Do you guys hear that?
no.
Yeah, I hear it.
No, it's like nigga, you're transcending the third dimension.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yes.
Hold on, let me fix it. Is it good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
Sounded like I was back on dial-up 25 years ago.
Yeah. Go ahead and give her consensus to.
Well, this would just go back to the first point of this being in plain time and all of
Well,
that, and
yeah,
I'm pretty
you
sure
can,
we already
like-
passed that.
Yeah, do you have any like contextuals exterior to that? Because if you don't, like, we already know who got verdicts on those parts. So, like, do
Yeah.
you have any contention past that, or are we done here?
No, we're done. I don't
Okay,
really
so do you
have-
wanna give your conclusions for the entire debate?
Is that like what I think? Because
So you'll basically give an like quick little bit overview of the entire debate, so the judges can give their verdict of who won, whose position was fulfilled, etc.
oh well, so for my side, I would say that I would go back to the whole plain time, cube time, and hyper time, where this is just a story for us, and that Cosmic Armor Superman is above hyper time, which is above cube time, which is us, and it goes back to M theory that we're in a much bigger box to real life gods and gods we don't know about, and that Kaz is completely beyond.
That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, and my conclusions would be that the points that he just brought up, we already went past. Not nearly enough things from his side he went through, and he didn't get those points. So I don't believe he can use it in like this fight or this conclusion of the debate. He had no refutations towards what my scaling was, so I just believe his character would not be able to influence mine based on the virtue of everything that was stated so far. So yeah, I believe my position was fulfilled. That's it.
Do judges gotta?
Yeah, so like Kamura and
Yeah.
Epic,
Yeah.
don't do that shit. It's gay. But yeah, that's the entire debate. Who won?
Yeah, I believe no one. You tried, I guess, justifying your conclusion based off of the points that you already concluded on, and we already gave verdict that you lost those points. And since you lost the points, none of your scaling went through, so you can't really use that button. And you
Understandable.
don't have any contentions to so you can't really.
Stop saying I just had to say it like that because I could not describe it other way.
Yeah, that's gross. Don't ever do that again. But no, I'm gonna have to agree that Will fell off at the end there and didn't refute anything that you said on all of your scaling. He didn't provide any context or scaling counters. So yeah, it would definitely go to you for that last point.
Okay, well, a nice discussion, I must say. It was, it was nice. Y'all were pretty. I like how y'all were all pretty on the ground. I would say nobody yelled at each other. Nobody was mean. Nobody cut off. Well, I cut off. My apologies. I was cut
No,
off.
I cut off a few times too. Don't worry.
It's fine. So yeah, I like how y'all were like down to earth and nice. So that's it. That's it from my side. GG's.
Yeah,
Have a nice
GGs.
day. Have a nice day.
That was pretty fun. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is like the first civil debate because in the main con, like, what does this shit? It's just it's spurging and spurging, yelling.
It gives me hope.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I used to. Yeah, I used to watch Stuff the Programmers debates, and Aeroflames debates.
Now decides to
Yeah, I wish I explained it better. I thought he was gonna bring up like Lucifer stuff.
Yeah, he was a really good logical debater. The problem is he had absolutely no facts whatsoever.
Yeah, he was super.
like 0%, like, and just denial and reinterpretation of what the scan said. So he won on the arguments, but he lost on all of what the actual answers and facts were. So I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
too bad because you debated somebody who took the few arguments that you did make, and all he did was reinterpret them his own way. And like I was trying to say, like I got frustrated within the first 15 minutes, which is why I like had to cut in, and I tried to tell him like, you're not providing anything. You're not providing anything but your opinion, and you're saying your opinions are logic, and logic is the right answer. That's not a discussion point.
Yeah, that was another thing.
That his entire argument was based on here's my
Yeah, I thought he was gonna.
and I'm going to use my philosophy to unmake your actual author statements, the guidebook, and the scans too. So like the trifecta of pure denial on that. But at the same time, you know, on those kinds of debates, you have to be prepared to logically counter him with better logic than his. That's the problem. That takes a long time to adapt to. But no, this goes right back to the same kind of debate. And I'm super thankful that nobody was toxic and he's a nice dude. I'd love to have more conversations like that. But at this point, like, even he admitted he probably never read this. He never read the guidebook. He didn't know what book that was from. He doesn't know anything about the Overvoid. So my problem here is, why are we discussing these characters, but you didn't read into it?
That we don't know nothing about.
So if you're starting, if your knowledge is starting with no factual information whatsoever, you can never actually win a debate, even if you're really good at logic bombs, which is what he is. He's really good at that stuff. But like your ground of being had no factual objective data whatsoever on the opponent's character. And you can't start a debate like that. You have to be knowledgeable on it, because the problem was, if he had somebody on his level or better countering all of this, he would have scored in the negatives. Like, what's the word that debaters use? Fallacy. Like, you can only have so many fallacies in a debate, and within the first 10 minutes, it was nothing but personal subjective fallacy, but it was being used as an objective counter to why he was right. So like, it was meta. It was really funny. It's like, I'm going to use meta fallacy, to my own fallacy of why my fallacy is right, and that's not how you debate anything. So like, you crushed him on what the facts were, but he's really good at logic, at countering logic. So, and it was a trap. I don't know if you saw that or not, but he trapped you in the logic discussion, because he was using terms and phrasing without an actual way to counter it. There's no way. It's like, for example, okay, I say the presence is the most powerful and he has the most combative power. If he were to get into a physical or conceptual fight with anybody, he would win. But hey, the comic books never said that. The authors never said that he had anything like that. They never showed the presence in a fight. So my logic is, he doesn't have the ability to do that. Well, you can't possibly counter that because the data doesn't exist. That's a fallacy.
Yeah.
You can't use that as a reference. Like, I can say, well, based on your logic, because the Presence never had a boxing match with anybody, Mike Tyson would actually beat the Presence in a boxing match because he actually has experience shown in a boxing match. But of course, if you're going to base it on logic, which is what his entire point was, he was claiming that logic was on his side, but he's using fallacy arguments to back up his logic. You see what I mean? Like, the logic here is,
I see what you mean.
Of course the Presence can beat Mike Tyson in a boxing match. He's supposed to be Yahweh. No mortal would ever win a fight against, a god like that. But because the god was never shown in a boxing match, that means Mike Tyson would win. That was his logic. And that's not actually logic. That's a fallacy argument intended to trap the other person to get points to win the discussion, which is what he did. So.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's what I mean by trapping you. That's what really good debaters do, and they don't even have any information on the comic book. His entire argument was set up to get you in a corner and trap you into specific answers. Like, for example, his discussion points on his character being ineffable and some kind of beyond platonic, beyond whatever. It's the nothing. But you had showed earlier that is exactly what Mandra did, and you actually posted a scan of the editor confirming that. So he basically said his character is better because I say so, even though you posted the scan from the editorial of the exact same thing. Like, he's like, his character is the blank, it's the nothing, it's whatever it needs to be. Well, we showed it was existence versus nothing, and it's not just coming from the comic or the author, it's coming from the editorial explaining what this is all about. So it transcends all of that, and he ignored that.
Yeah.
And that's the trap. That was the trap. He trapped you by you not saying what I just said, like the logic of, well, the editor confirmed this, and you normally, debaters will say, okay, well, we have the comic, let's go to the author. Okay, well, the author doesn't matter. Well, who's after that? The publishing company itself confirming something. Well, we had that. That wasn't the author saying that. That was the publication company. The editorial confirmed by DC Comics saying that stuff. So, like, you had the facts.
Yeah.
You had the superior scaling. And everything that he was saying back to you was, here, I have a problem with that. I think he said, I have a problem with that. Or this is a problem. Or it's meant to be too big. Oh, cosmic armor can't possibly be that. Because that would mean way too much. It would be way too profound. Yeah, that's the point, dude. That was the point. Like, he just that the point was supposed to be that. And that's what worries me. Like, he got into this debate where he has no clue what the context was. He was not debating the context. He told you that. He doesn't want to debate the context. He wants to debate what his opinion on the context was. That's why originally when I asked, I'm like, are we debating the context here? Or are we debating who has the better opinion? Like, which one are we doing? Because you kept throwing the scans at him and explaining what the scans and the statement said. And he would come back and say, nuh-uh, here's why this is wrong. No. It doesn't matter why yours is wrong. Like, why these scans that Will is posting is wrong. You then at the end posted your scans, and Will didn't come back and say, nuh-uh, here's why the scans are wrong. Get it? Like, you really had the high ground. You had the higher moral standard. You had the higher ethical value in this discussion. He didn't. Because he's taking facts and saying, no, they're not facts, unless I say they are. That's not debating. The word for that is called shilling. I'm going to shill to the judges in hopes that they agree with me on this. And the problem is most people do. Most people do that, and they prefer the subjective viewpoint to the objective one. You had the objective one. He didn't. You were doing things that he wasn't doing. And then, like I said, at the end of it, he shows his scans, and you didn't immediately come back and say, well, you know what, dude, I have a problem with that, and here's why here's why the statement in this scan is wrong. You didn't do that. You didn't have to do that because you know that's wrong to do, right? Of course.
Yeah.
No debater should ever do something like that. But he did that on every single scan that you said. From the all existence thing to all the is, he didn't read it. And it's funny he didn't read it because the last thing that he posted was a mirror of basically the same thing. The problem is the context of his anime character was only in his anime verse and has no statements anywhere else in any guidebook by any author or even implied anywhere else that story contains or is a reference to everything outside of story. But you did. So on all
okay. I see. Okay, so I see the things that I did wrong that I should have said, and you know, this is why I love the criticism because it'll make me better at this, and I would know not to do this next time.
This is your third debate. Like, you need hundreds, you need dozens and hundreds to get to his level, because this dude has probably been debating for years and years and years. And like I said, he's so confident in what he can do with logic and to trap other people that he doesn't even have to know about this comic book. He didn't even read it. He never read the DC guidebook, but you're going to debate it? Why would you even try to do that? Well, because your logic bombs are so sound and so good that you trap the other user. But if you were debating anybody in my circle, I would say that that's super unethical. And that's why I wanted to come into this judging and be like, well, whichever side needs the scans, I'll provide it. On his side as well. If he needs and references something, I'll go look it up, and I'll find it, and I'll give it to you. And the same thing for you. I wasn't trying to only... I didn't like the way he said that at the end of it. I was like, I'm there to give both sides whatever information that they need if they request it. It wasn't me just giving you. And this is why I kept asking him, like, is this your opinion? Because all of your opinions are explaining somebody else's content in a completely different way than what it actually says. The dude has pre-adaption. The dude has pre-adaption before it's a threat. Your character doesn't, therefore your character loses. It doesn't matter if he's a void. It doesn't matter if he has infinite energy conceptual power. Your character doesn't have pre-adaption power, but this character does. How do you win this? How could you possibly even debate this? He had no idea that the Kaz had pre-adaption. He also had no clue that the Cosmic Armor and Mandra kept giving themselves like transcendence power. They would take their power and transcend it over and over and over and over and over and over. But then the real logic bomb, the one that got me the most, I can throw all of that stuff out. The one that got me the most is how he debunked himself with the Cosmic Armor isn't all story. If the Overvoid can throw them into another story. Dude, that means that the Cosmic Armor actually has another layer on top of it. We're only looking at the avatar of the Cosmic Armor instead of the actual Cosmic Armor. The actual Cosmic Armor would be the hyper story that you're talking about. If it's all story, then it includes the hyper story too, which means you lost. You lost the discussion. You debunked yourself. You didn't have to. You were looking at it like from a downwards perspective. Oh, well, Kaz can't be all of story because the Overvoid made a bigger story to put them in. Well, if Kaz is all story, that means what we're looking at is just one part of what the actual Kaz is. And Cosmic Armor actually does contain Mandrak and the Cosmic Armor that we're seeing. We're looking at a lower emanation of the Cosmic Armor. The real one is the hyper story that contains all stories. So you debunked yourself.
Damn, I should have said that, man. Damn, I wish I had more of that.
And it kept going like that, where I'm like, wait a second, you just said that your character is ineffable, and it's beyond meaning, it's beyond, and I'm sitting here like, oh my god, are you fucking serious right now? Are you fucking serious telling me that this anime character is beyond form and meaning? Or then it's some kind of platonic thing where form and meaning like are generalized to be like subservient of whatever this is supposed to be. Meaning, what did Cosmic Armor say as soon as his eyes opened? He is in a place where form and meaning don't mean anything. And then he broke it. So if your character is the equivalent of the form and meaning, and the Cosmic Armor broke this world that is beyond the form and meaning, and then they infinitely transcended that and adapted to it, where does that leave your character? Infinitely below the Cosmic Armor. The Cosmic Armor broke the world that is equivalent of your character. And he did it before he transcended infinite times. So you debunked yourself again, dude. Again. He wasn't helping you. He was not helping you at all. I mean, he wasn't helping himself at all in that discussion. Every word that he said helped your case. Every single word that he said helped you win that.
Yeah, I just wish I had more of the logic bombs and everything to be like, oh wait, no, but you're saying this, but this is what this is showing. Right. Like literally what you just told me. I wish I had that on the spot. I should have been more prepared because I was prepared for him to say. I thought he read Vertigo and everything, and I thought he was gonna start bringing that up and be like, "Oh no, this kid, the Overvoid, I already have problems with it because Lucifer flew into it." I thought he was gonna get into that, and he didn't. And I don't feel bad about losing the debate. Honestly, I could learn from this, like I am now. Like what you're saying, I'm like jotting it down right now.
You won because you posted the facts. He didn't. You won because you didn't reinterpret anything that he said, but everything that he said was a reinterpretation of everything you said, or what the content that he's discussing said. That's not debating. There's, like I always say, there's another word for that, and it's called shilling. Shilling and debating aren't the same thing. I thought this was supposed to be like an objective discussion, where two people sit and try to figure out what the answer is. But that was your goal. His goal was just to get more points to beat you. That's all he cared.
Yeah, that's why I thought he was gonna... Yeah, that's why I thought he was gonna start bringing in like Lucifer and all of that. There's a little delay. I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak over you.
But yeah, it's his last counter to you, or his last argument. Actually, his conclusive argument was his only argument, right? Like he spent like all of like 60 seconds on the feats and statements of what his character was, and it becomes the is what he said. Well, that's what nil is. The form and meaning surrender to the Overvoid. That's what nil is. But the Cosmic Armor and Mandra are beyond even that scope. So, to start, your character is literally the ground that the Cosmic Armor was standing on, but it would only be in context for your animeverse. And as you said repeatedly, and he refused to accept it, the context was explained 1,000 times by the content creator and guidebooks, and alluded to in the comic book itself, that this is beyond the scope of fictional space. That's not the context. Your character has no context of being exterior, the author avatar of this series. If your character from this anime goes up against the guy who wrote it, casting himself as an avatar in this animeverse, the author avatar is going to win. There's nothing that the other character can do. But the Cosmic Armor is above all of the author avatars, and specifically intended to be so. All of the other fictional versions are in limbo. All those continuities are part of limbo. It's not just DC. It's not just DC. And he kept saying, well, the author needs to talk about other animes and blah, blah, and he needs to know. Are you serious right now that one of the most prolific authors in the world doesn't know what anime and manga are? That's his argument. That was his argument, dude. This is a guy who wrote one of the worlds in the multiversity to be one of the anime worlds. And Grant Morrison talks about Japanese manga and comics from Japan and anime all the time. So, like, these are not factual things that he was saying. But he knew that you were not going to have any ability to counter this, because these are ungodly specific arguments that, like, you would never in a million years think anybody would present. You know, like, you can't prepare for something that absurd. Well, of course I don't have any scans of authors or Grant Morrison saying that it includes anime and everything. Well, that's the argument of specifics. Again, the presence was never shown boxing, so he must not be good at boxing. Well, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. When the context was given, the presence is great at everything. The presence is great at everything. He's the best at everything. But because it wasn't said that he's the best at boxing, that means he sucks at boxing and would be defeated by this other thing. No, that's not how it works. He said he's the best at everything. Everything is included in there. That is the part of the discussion where he failed completely. He's completely ignoring the context. He didn't care what the context was for playing time. He literally did not care. He said, no, I'm not, I don't want to accept that. Okay, great, then you conceded. You conceded in the first 5 minutes of the argument.
Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, that was another thing that I was confused about. He was saying, "Oh no, Grant Morrison has to talk about this." I'm like, "But Plain Time is fictional. That's what M theory is. Is that we're in a much bigger box?"
Right,
And I explained to him what Plain Time was.
and there's videos of him saying it too in the interviews, not just in the text, you know, not just in the guidebooks, but also in video interviews where he says that's the context of what this is. And to have that denial of the factual data just because you don't like it, and then he explained why he doesn't like it. And oh, it's too profound. It's too big. The container is too big. It can't possibly be that. Well, I'm sorry, dude. That's what it is. That boils down to the same exact discussion points that everybody who hates the cosmic armor says. It just can't be. I just can't accept that this is the context, that the context was beyond the fictional space and it was beyond the in real life world where fictional things can't go. And then they directly tell you that the no monitors are in context above all that. Well, why are they in context above all that? Because Grant Morrison had a drug trip. Thought he saw cosmic abstracts that took him into like these religious places, and they showed him these rules of existence and how existence worked from their perspective. And then he wrote those characters as the no monitors. That's the context. So the context is non-fictional. Nobody's saying that it's real. Nobody's saying that you can't use that argument in a context debate. And that's what he was getting wrong the entire time. He's like, his entire argument was based on, nuh-uh, I can't accept this, so I'm going to reinterpret this my own way. Or I'm just going to deny what the comic book says. Like, he flat out denied the pre-adaption. He denied it. He's like, I have a problem with this, and blah, blah. And here's my character who doesn't have that. Here's my character who doesn't have that, but my character will certainly win. Your character doesn't win. The context of the cosmic armor is completely scaling infinitely above your character. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you should have debates on it. You shouldn't do that. But that's what a lot of debaters like that do. And again, he's really good at trapping other people in corners with the way he phrases things, with the questions he was asking. You have no way to actually answer it with the content itself. You have to leech into real life logic. You have to leech into finding a way to counter his logic with your logic. And that's almost impossible to do. And he knew that. So, like, trapping somebody, denial of the facts, admitting that you never read it, not accepting what the comic books and the guidebooks say, and then refusing to even discuss more than one. Did you notice he didn't discuss a single feat of his character and what they're capable of?
Yeah.
There was nothing there. But your entire argument was showing the scale of this character, where his one scan that he posted, it was like 3. He posted 3 statements. And the statements don't say anything about the combative nature of what this character can do in a combat situation. We don't even know if that character can do those things in combat. Like 3812, we know he transcends the reality that he's in. But what happens when somebody owns all of the realities and also can use that in a combative way? Well, there are no statements about 3812 being a combative entity who can physically fight or conceptually fight anything else. All he does is transcend. That's all he does. He goes to the next layer up. So you can't say, here is my character, they'll transcend this reality. How does that work in combative situations? There was nothing there. There was absolutely nothing there on his side. So I would not feel bad about this debate. You trounced him, like, in a significant way. You remained ethical, you posted the scans, you explained the scans repeatedly, and his only responses to you was, no, I don't like that. No, we're not going to listen to this. No, it can't possibly be this way because I have never read it. I don't know what the author actually said. Oh, and it's also the real world argument where it's not actually real. And that was he had 5 discussion points, and that was all. None of them have to do with combative power of the cosmic armor or his character. Throughout that entire thing, he didn't explain once why his character would win.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like I said, I just wish not that I wish. It's mostly cause like I said before, this is literally my 3rd debate. My first one was with GB and Goons, and then the second one was with it's actually their friend Polix. It was with Allo Venus versus Cass. Calisthenics Kid was there too to spectate as he was in this one, and then this is the 3rd one. This is literally my 3rd debate, and I just wish I just wish I explained it better. Like what you said when he was like, it can't be this and that, and I was like, I should have been like, but that it is that, you know what I mean?
Right, and it's very simple. It's very simple logic. You post a scan, and then you get the content creator explaining that, and then you get an extra with the editorial and publication company saying, yeah, that's what this is. Three strikes, you're out. And then he denied all 3, and I had my hands covering my face, and I'm sitting here, and I'm like, again with these denial arguments, like on this poor cosmic armor. I don't get it. Like, he admitted that he never read it. So like all these statements that you're throwing at him, he was oblivious to.
Yeah, that was one thing. And this is like what I said before. I was confused on that because I thought he was gonna come in saying, "Oh, this is not the Overlord. Lucifer flew into this one. The cosmic armor it was wounded beyond repair." I was prepared for that. I didn't know he was gonna be like, "How can cosmic armor Superman be all story if he's in a much bigger story?" But like you just said, he is all story. Like the cosmic armor is just, like a lower emanation of it.
Exactly.
If Kaz is all story, yeah, if Kaz is all story, and he was thrown into the hyper story, that just means Kaz is what that is. It's all story.
Exactly.
And I should have said that. But
you don't win when you say there's another even more powerful story, but Kaz is all story. If you agree that Kaz is all story, which he clearly does, you can't possibly deny it with the evidence that's out there, like the direct statements. Yes, the cosmic armor is all story. But then you say here's another story, the Overvoid taking all story and no story and giving them a battle scenario to see which one earns the right to win. Okay? Like, of course the Overvoid can do that. It's splitting off story and anti-story and giving them the ability to combat each other to see who deserves to win. Again, that was explained in one of the other interviews by Grant, where the Overvoid is running through its own ultimate story, and it's running through its own ultimate story as Mandra.
yeah,
The Overvoid runs through its own story. The Monitor Mind has worked through its own ultimate story and spared Nick Sultan to be its sole representative and interface with the multiverse. That's what the hyper story is, the ultimate story, of taking story and non-story and making them fight. Again, the Overvoid hates the cosmic armor. It hates the flaw. It hates stuff. It wants Mandrak to win. It wants Mandrak to win. So if you're saying that the cosmic armor has another layer above it, that it's not the full story, is what he said. His actual quote was, "It's not the full story, it's just a big chunk of the story." Well, congratulations, this is just one of the emanations of the cosmic armor then. And that emanation is infinitely more powerful than the character that you were supporting. So that's not even the actual form of the cosmic armor, according to his points. I don't actually believe that. I think it's an absurd argument that has no basis and no logic to it whatsoever. The ultimate void, and it's all based on his lack of knowledge on what the Overvoid is supposed to be. He's saying that this ultimate thing where everything came from, that exists outside of fictional and in context real life space, can't do this. It can't take story and no story and make them fight. It can't do that because that would also be a story. Well, then you're saying that the cosmic armor is the Overvoid. That's a billion trillion times worse, infinitely worse for you, if that's the case. So nothing was on his side. The facts were not on his side. But I have to commend him for being really, really good at logic bomb. Like, he's super good. He's one of the better ones that I've ever seen, like entrapping other people with his logic bombs. And I have to give it to him. Both of them were super nice. They weren't toxic. They didn't raise their voices. The people in the chat were disgusting, and like I'm gonna have to put up some type of picture above their names if I'm gonna put this on YouTube. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's absolutely disgusting. Whoever those people are should never be a part of this again. We don't need people like that anywhere near debating on this level, because these two guys were super nice and collected and level-headed. But then you're reading the comments that we're scrolling through, and it was awful. It was just terrible. So,
yeah, I didn't really see the comments.
You're lucky.
Is there like? Oh damn.
You're lucky. There were things said in it, and usernames flashing through where I'm like, I can't show this. I'll get my video removed from YouTube by just showing their usernames.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I think I know who you were talking about. Yeah, that was crazy. That's a crazy username.
But like I said, he's really good, and I commend him on being that good at trapping other people into those kinds of logic arguments. You can't counter them. The only way to counter them is to be ethical and say, well, I can't out-logic you. The only other alternative is to just listen to what the content says. That's how you beat those logic bombs. Your logic is this, but here's the comic book and the author and the guidebook and the editorial and the publication company all confirming why your logic is wrong. And you had that. You had it. You had it in droves. He didn't. So even though he won on the point system on the quality of the arguments, you won on who would actually win this combative scenario. You won on the facts. You won on the evidence. You won on everything else except the quality of the debates. You just didn't go far enough into driving the knife in. There's a point where you reach with the data that's available that can drive him out, and none of his logic will matter. But then I question at the same time, like, even with all of the data that you provided, he was still saying no. He was still saying no
Yeah.
to pre-adaption. He was still saying no to plain time having the context of everything. He made this ridiculous argument that Grant Morrison needs to talk about his specific verse, and that's logic. It's not logic. You just made that up as an argument. You know, like the verse that he was talking about isn't included in all of fictional space. Why? Because you say so. Because I made up that Grant has to talk about this, and that's my logic. Oh, you can't counter me because you don't have evidence that Grant said this, so therefore I'm right. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy and a trap. That's not an ethical way to discuss, you know, and have a debate with somebody when you're trying to find the facts. When you're trying to win a point system, yeah, you can do things like that to trap other people, which is what he was doing. But if the rules of engagement were from now on, no more of the logical fallacies, no more of this nuh-uh, no more of this I'm going to explain these very specific statements and feats in my own way, then he would not be able to even stand up to you. He would probably say no to the discussion. Because nothing is on his side. He has basically nothing.
Yeah.
If that's all he has, then his character is the equivalent of something below nil. He said it's the root of all existence. It's the root of everything. It's the root of blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? All of that is what the cosmic armor is to begin with. The cosmic armor is all of existence. You showed the editorial confirming that. You showed that. So why he came back saying that his character would beat this, blah, 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 because it's the root of everything, it's ineffable, it's this, well, that's everything, that's what the cosmic armor already contains. Like, we have the author, we have the comic book, and we have the editorial, all three strikes you're out, saying the same thing, that that's what the armor is. It's all of existence, it's all things story, it's all data, everything. So if your character is one part of that, but not everything, but the cosmic armor is everything, then you lost this discussion the moment the cosmic armor woke up. And that is before it started adapting and transcending infinitely over and over and over and over and over. So by the end of the battle, this cosmic armor is incalculably more powerful than yours, even though it started off incalculably more powerful than yours. Because its context was defined as something even superior to what your character was defined as. It was breaking nil, where form and meaning have no meaning. That's the scale. It's not contradictory. You're saying it's contradictory. It's contradictory. You can't be all story. You can't do that. No. You are missing the whole point of what the context is. You're supposed to be like, that doesn't make any sense. That's so profound. It's on a scale that can't be quantified. And that was exactly this guy's argument. He's like, oh, that's just too big. You can't. The scope of it is too much. It just can't be that. Yes, yes, it was. That was the whole point of what the cosmic armor was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Just because you can't believe that's the context doesn't mean that you're right. that's what it is. Like,
Yeah, and like I said, they are good. They're good debaters. Like, I wish I knew like how to stop the logic bombs, or at least like be like, oh, you know, this and that. But like I said before, this is my third debate, so I was totally unprepared for that. But they are cool. They're cool debaters. But I just wish I knew how to debate more properly. And who knows? I'll probably get there.
I agree. They're really, and like I said, they're really nice, and I have to commend them for that, because 99% of, you know, just like the other dude says, like, everything is so toxic, and this was like,
hey, if you're watching this, you debated smart. You did good.
No, I agree. That was like the logic traps there were scary good. They were scary good. That's a pro level debater, so confident in his logic and ability to outscale other people that he didn't even have to read the content. But the problem is, everything that you posted debunked everything that he said. Like, it's just a question of ethics. Are you going to listen to the comics, the author, the guidebook, another author, and editorial confirm the same fact? And then when you see all that, you say, no, I'm going to rewrite this subjectively and just not accept it. Or I'm going to say, like he said, where it's basically the author's interpretation of their own publication. Well, of course. Of course it is. That's the whole point of fact-finding. You go ask the expert. You go ask the expert. Isn't that the logical way to do something? When you don't know what the answer is, you go find experts. And then you find the people who wrote it, who know what the context is. They wrote the origin story. They wrote the character. Imagine going up to Stan Lee when he was alive at Comic-Con and being like, hey, how tall is Uncle Ben? Oh, and then he replies, yeah, he was supposed to be 5'9", whatever. You know, he was always 5'9". I even wrote a guidebook where I said he was 5'9". And you look Stan Lee in the eye, and you tell him, Stan Lee, that's just an interpretation of your own work. I don't have to listen to you. That's not a fact when you say it. And Stan Lee will probably cock his head to one side and be like, okay, well, have fun. You know, good luck in life. And that's how adults will respond to this. this is not the way to be respectful and ethical in a debate. But again, I think he knew that. I think he knew that he didn't have the data, and he was just going to outscale you on the logic front. He was just going to logic trap you repeatedly over and over and over. And the only response that he had was to deny all of those statements. He denied predaption, he denied transcendence, he denied the author explaining what the cosmic armor is, he denied the editorial. That is a lot of stuff.
Yeah,